Hey guys! Okay, I wanted to make a quick video because we just got back from a staycation to Great Wolf Lodge. You know, these ears don't really fit me. They're my daughter's. But this was our first time going to Great Wolf Lodge. As you can see behind me, my oldest turned 10. He's officially a preteen. He is a double digiter and he's officially been on this earth for a full decade. So it was a big milestone. We planned this whole thing. So prior to this staycation that I knew it was coming up, I was symptomatic. Like, I knew it was a flare-up. I knew it. It was totally a flare-up. Of many reasons, I'm sure. Relationship stuff, parenting stuff, being on this journey stuff. I even told my good friend who's also on the same journey from recovering from chronic illness using a mind-body approach. Hey, shout out TR. I love you. I was telling her how, like, man, I'm like, symptoms are up and I feel empty and I don't really know like what I want to do, where I want to go. Like, I'm kind of just like flowing and floating through life, kind of like a zombie. And I just know this is part of the journey. And I actually consulted somebody who has recovered and she was telling me, you know, just keep going, because there is a stage where everything just kind of feels empty because you're in the process of creating a brand new life. You're becoming a new person, you're recovering, you're rewiring. Yeah, you know, all the stuff. Yeah. So I knew that, you know, I'm flaring up. I don't need to figure it out. But obviously when you're going through it, it really doesn't feel good. And I also knew that because I have been on trips before while on this journey. So if you know my story, my introduction to the mind-body approach was through TMS, Dr. Sarno, right? I mentioned this in like many videos. And so his whole spiel is, you're fine, that there's nothing wrong with you, go live your life, because it's just, you know, the brain and repressed emotions and it's fear that keeps everything fueling and going. So I'm like, oh, all right, this is totally it, because none of the doctors, none of the alternative modalities that I've tried, and I've tried like the most, like the craziest ones that I bet you guys have never heard of, you know? I was like, this has to be it. So I find out about the mind-body connection, TMS, and I go on a 12-day, 2-week trip, flew to Hawaii. And it was like a crazy family reunion of many sorts kind of trip. Did that. While on this journey, I had a baby, which, hello, like everyone, any pregnant mother knows, like, that's crazy. I've flown to San Diego. I've flown to Vegas. I've gone on multiple road trips, varying all kinds of different durations. I've been on snow trips. I've gone to Disneyland. I went to my sister's destination wedding where I was a matron of honor and we had to perform and do all the stuff. So I've done all these things already on the recovery journey. And so it still surprised me so much that I was nervous, like the amount of how nervous I was going to this Great Wolf Lodge. And I've been to summer camps too. I just remembered that. You know, week-long summer camps, and like tent camping. And still, I was like still nervous to go on this to Great Wolf Lodge, even though I knew, I was like, man, I've done this so many times and I already know. I usually, it's probably anxiety or whatever, it doesn't matter, but I usually get like a flare-up of sorts or things just kind of escalate. Oh, and then I went to see, I'm just remembering this. I went to like the NBA Finals game, where I talked about that. I was flaring up until the actual event and then had minimal to no symptoms because I was completely enjoying myself, immersed in the environment, right? So I knew going in that this was what was happening. Like, it's just like worry, it's anxiety leading up to the actual event that you're worried about, even though you know you're going to be fine and it's going to be great because everyone's going to be having a good time and you're going to have a good time. So I knew all of this was going to happen, but it still sucked to like go through it and to feel it all. Right, you know. So, and let me preface this. So also what happened prior to this trip was that we got hit with fleas in our house. We were getting bit. Actually, I was okay. I only got like 2 bites, if that, but I think it's because I've read that fleas and ticks and bugs don't like acidic blood. And I drink apple cider vinegar every morning, not for like recovery reasons, but just because I like the benefits of it. And I just like starting my day with apple cider vinegar water. So my kids were getting eaten up. My husband, I think he has really alkaline, like pH, whatever, but he was getting bit up. So we were dealing with this weird flea problem, and no, it wasn't from Mando, the dog that my sister's dog that we watch from time to time, but we had him here around the time that this was all happening. So we thought he brought fleas, but when my sister took him back and took him to get groomed, they said they didn't find any fleas on him. But when he was here, he was super scratching around the time that everyone was getting bit. So that was fun. So anyway, why is that important? Because my husband decided to get these flea foggers, you know, where you kind of set them off in your house and you have to leave for at least 4 hours for the mist to go, the fog to go ahead and kill all the fleas. So he decided we should do it while we're away. And I was like, okay, fine, that's great. But I also was kind of like, dang, do you want to do this while we're gone? Because when we get home, it'll still be my son's birthday, you know? And now we have to like clean our house and there might be dead bugs everywhere. But he was like, let's just do it. When are we going to do it? I was like, okay, fine, whatever. That's going to be important for later. Okay, so we fog the house. We go to our trip, and this Great Wolf Lodge is about an 1.5-hour drive away, which was fine. And of course, once we get there, the symptoms I don't even freaking care. I know, I'm aware that they're there, but I'm like, dude, this place is awesome already. I love it. I'm gonna write a Yelp review. I'm not gonna review Great Wolf Lodge on this video specifically, but if you're curious about my detailed experience, I am going to write a review. That is my plan today. I used to be a Yelp elite person and then they took it away, so I'm kind of sad about that. Hopefully I can become an elite Yelp reviewer again. Okay, so we get there. I'm deploying all the things that I've learned on this journey, and the main thing that is peddled by the Mindful Gardener, as you guys know, is to just allow everything, allow and engage, allow and engage, allow and engage. And that is what I did from the moment we stepped out of the car and walked to the lodge. So we get there, we're running into little hiccups here and there. Like I couldn't self-check in, like nothing was working on the kiosk, but I didn't stress out about it. I just allowed, like I was having issues there at the kiosk, and then I just like allowed it, not stressing about it at all. And all of a sudden, this worker just comes over and she goes, oh, are you having issues? Come, let me help you out. She brings me to the front desk. All the while, I'm looking over at the long check-in line that she allowed me to skip. And she just brought me over and we just resolved it super quick. Caveat, I will say, during our 2-day stay there, we did 2 days, 1 night. So during our 2-day stay there, the staff was crazy. Like they were amazing. So like kudos to them. I'm going to write a really good review. Like I said, they were amazing. They were super accommodating because we ran into like little things like that. Like self-check-in wasn't working, but she helped resolve it really quick. When we got to our room, our wristbands weren't working, so we couldn't open up our room. And the housekeeper there, like she knew what to do. Usually like when you ask a housekeeper for help, my experience has been they don't know what to do, or they tell you go back to the front desk. But she took care of it. She went and got someone that could help us really fast. And like they let us in and then they helped us like rekey our wristbands. Like we were running into little issues like that, but because like I wasn't stressing about it, just allowed it. And this is good training because with the symptoms we learn, right? We just allow it all, because usually what happens is things are going to resolve themselves. And that's not just limited to symptoms, that's limited to everything. That's what I was finding. Like every little issue that we were running into, if I just allowed it and not stressed out about it, it resolved quickly and people took care of it. But also their staff is great. Okay, so anyway, so we ran into all those things. We go to the water park, which I was a little nervous about, but at the same time my attitude shifted. I was like, no, I'm gonna have a fabulous time with my family and this is gonna be great. We step into the water park, and if you've ever been there, it's this big room with a bunch of attractions. It is 84 degrees year round, 84 degrees Fahrenheit year round, and you can feel it. It's warm. Actually, the first day was really hot. I felt like they lowered the temperature the second day because it was much cooler, and you can feel the chlorine. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as I anticipated the chlorine to be, but you know, after a while your eyes do start stinging, and it wasn't just me, it was like everybody else, but it was fine to just get in the water. Yeah, little to no symptoms. And when I did notice a symptom, I would do this thing where I'm like, okay, okay, I'm gonna allow this. But also, I just rubbed my hands together and I was just like, this can be here. I'm allowing you to be here and it's fine, but I'm allowing you to be here so you can release. Like, I can release you. And I just was saying that in the beginning because I did feel like I was having a lot of like anxiety related symptoms just because it was a new environment. I could see how my brain was like, oh my God, this is so claustrophobic. It's hot. It's like chemicals. Right? I could totally sense my brain doing that. But I just had this epiphany as I'm walking around, as I'm following my kids around, you know, like the water slides and just around all of the pools and the wave pool and the everything, which by the way, like spoiler alert, they had so much fun. They had a blast. I just realized that, oh my God, all this worrying is making me sick. This worrying of, oh, what's going to happen? Oh, I feel so awful. What's going to happen? Oh, like, I feel like I'm gonna die. I feel like I'm having a heart attack. I feel like I'm having a stroke. I feel like I'm gonna faint. Like, that is all worrying. And because I allowed it, I was just like, I just decided I was not going to worry on this trip. And it made me realize how much all those previous trips that I went on, even though I am so proud of myself for going on those trips, I was 100% worrying the whole time, which was taking away so much from the experience of just being present and being there and having fun. You know what I mean? Like, now when I look back after this experience where it was truly like, I'm just gonna have a good time, and whatever discomfort arises, I am going to allow you to be there because I'm going to let you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're allowed to be here and because I'm going to release you. Like, you're allowed to come up because I'm going to release you. That's kind of like the underlying mentality I had on this trip. And I can see now, like, especially Disneyland, like, I'm so glad I did it and I had a good time, but I was so stressed, I would say, that whole time because I was worried about what would happen. What if? And I feel like this trip was the first time where I genuinely was like, I really don't care anymore. Like, I'm allowing you and I'm releasing you. That was my thing. I'm allowing you and I'm releasing you. And I only had to do it when we first got there because it's like as if, I'm not surprised this happened, but it was as if my brain, something clicked and the symptoms just dissipated. Again, minimal to no symptoms, completely manageable. We did the water park, kept up with my kids, but thankfully, my in-laws and my sister and her family came too. So there were more eyes on the kids and the kids had more flexibility, to go around. But honestly, it's such a great place. I was so impressed with the place because I was like, oh, my 10-year-old could go off on his own. Sorry, I'm like uncomfortable because we had to sleep in the living room last night. So there's a mattress here that I'm sitting on. I'll get to that later. It has to do with the fleas. But anyway, so it was great. We bought a cake for my son. I got on a big water slide, like with the kind where you have to carry the inflatable up these really steep, like long, high stairs. And I hadn't done that in like 20 years. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, I need to remind you, I'm one of those girls that like when I was a kid and went to a water park, I was like, you could not stop me. I was like an energizer bunny. And I would go over and over and over, like bring up the inflatable up the stairs, go down the slide, bring up the inflatable. Like I had to remind my husband, I'm like, I know it's been a weird couple of years and you haven't seen that side of me in a long time. But here she is, you know, as we're going up with the inflatable to go up to the big water slide, I was like, here she is. She's coming back. She's coming back to life. I was like joking around with my husband. I hope we can sneak away for a little bit because we also are celebrating a decade of being parents. And it was a friggin' hard decade. Like, I will be honest. It was a very, very hard decade of being parents. So I feel like it's absolutely worth celebrating, like at least with a glass of wine or something. Yeah, so had a great time. And then we did the dance party at night. And well, my kids were kind of out of it already. We didn't even stay for the whole dance party. We just like, I could see they were just like, oh my God. Like they were so tired because they had so much fun. They spent 8 hours straight in the water park, in the water room. So, we went to bed. I couldn't even sleep that night because the kids kept waking up because they were like overtired. And I think I was just so jazzed because I had so much fun. I had so much fun just watching my kids have fun and then me having fun myself. And then being in the water, obviously, like it always feels so good. So barely slept that one night we stayed there. The next day they wanted to do the water park again. So we were back in the water park for way more hours than I anticipated. And then my son did the obstacle course and they did the wand, like the Magic Quest thing. They did the wands, like searching the grounds. And I was a little worried the second day. Like I didn't want to go to the water park again because I was just like, I just want to relax and chill. You know, I'm on vacation and I didn't sleep well the night before. But again, I decided, I was like, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm not going to worry about how many hours I slept or didn't sleep. I am going to allow whatever is coming up again, right? Allow whatever is coming up to be released. That was my underlying mentality. And I realized when we went back to the water park again the second day, I was like, I feel normal. I really did. I felt normal. I felt rested, which now I am convinced that it doesn't really matter how many hours, like the 8 hours you need to sleep. I think I heard this from Taylor Swift. I think there was an interview, correct me if I'm wrong. It could be the wrong celebrity or I could be making this up. I don't know. But I heard this thing about her where someone asked her, like, how do you sleep? Her answer was something like sleep deprivation is a mindset or something like that, like implying that it's your mind. And you know what? That's what I deployed for the second day. And I will say, I think it's true. And also we were in a fun environment. You know, we wanted to be there. Everyone was having a good time. It was just good vibes all around. And so, yeah, well, we did a full second day at Great Wolf Lodge. And then, we came home and we had to get to work at home. Because remember, we had fogged our house while we were gone. You know, if you've ever fogged your house, you have to air it out. You have to like vacuum everything, wipe everything down, wash all the beddings, wash everything that could be exposed. So once we get home, it's not like we just got in and we rested. Nope, we went straight to work, wiped everything down, washed the couch, bedding, you know, unpacked. I got down on my knees and scrubbed the floor because where the areas where the fogger was at was like super like grimy and slimy because of all the chemicals. We went to work for like a few hours once we got home. And even that, I could see how in the past I would have been like kind of moody about it. And I would have told my husband like, no, I need to rest. I need to, you know, but in this instance, there was no time to rest. You had to like vacuum, like, you know, there might be dead fleas, you know, everywhere. So, or ants or whatever, like little bugs you don't know. So everything has to be cleaned. And I was deploying the same thing, right? Like if I felt like uncomfortable or anything that made me feel like, or that would scare me, like a sensation or this like, you know, like when you feel like you're maxed out or you feel like you're about to crash, I just did the same thing. I just rubbed my hands together and I was just like, no, I have evidence that this works. Like rewiring in real time, allowing and releasing uncomfortable sensations in real time works. So I just did the same thing. I just kept to my lane. I was like, this is something I know I want to do. I want to get my house clean and orderly again. And so that's what we did. And yeah, I was pooped by 10:30 p.m. I was exhausted. I got in the shower and then I just sat on the couch completely exhausted. But I was like, this is what a normal person would feel after having a 2-day staycation at a water park, right? An indoor water park with all the other activities and with 3 little kids. And then you come home and you have to like basically scrub down your whole entire house. This is what a normal person would feel like. So that was incredible. The whole thing was incredible. I looked up the definition of worrying and I'm gonna read it to you. It says, worry, give way to anxiety or unease, allow one's mind to dwell on difficult or trouble. So I was like, oh my God, light bulb. So when we keep worrying, we are holding on to what is not helping us. We're holding on to grievances. We're holding on to the fear. Really. We're holding on to fear of what may happen, but it might not happen. But we're holding on to it. Whereas allowing allows you to release. Allowing allows you to release. But allowing lets you release that which is not helping. So that was eye-opening for me. Even now, 4 years in, almost 4 years in on this journey, you don't realize, right? Like sheesh, I have been worrying so much and it's almost undetectable how much worrying is happening under there. And worrying is just holding on and piling weight on you and weight on you and weight on you. Whereas allowing is releasing it, letting it move out. And that's that. So I'm fully prepared because we did go pretty hard. I'm fully prepared to be experiencing an adjustment period, a flare-up of sorts, because we're back home, we're back in my safe space, whatever you want to call it. But this trip was very pivotal, I think. My biggest takeaway was that the clear disparity between like a worrying person and an allowing person who's not worried. Like they're just not worried. Whatever happens, whatever comes up, whatever they feel, it's all okay. And just to relate it to my last video, allowing will get you closer to leapfrogging. You're going to leapfrog over everybody. You're going to advance forward. You're going to accelerate forward. And then eventually everyone's going to come to you and be like, how did you get so far ahead? Or whatever perception they have about that. Just remember, we're leapfroggers. Link below if you want to purchase the merch, because this is a really great reminder that we are leapfrogging over everyone on this journey. I truly, truly, truly believe that. And yeah, so many things. And here's the most annoying part about this journey is you really don't learn all these lessons. Like it doesn't embed itself in your nervous system, in your brain, in your heart, in your body, unless you subject yourself to overwhelming, potentially overwhelming, potentially intense situations. And what does Helmut call that? He calls that turbo exposures, where you're just like, you really don't know how you're gonna do it. You don't know how you're gonna attend this event or drive right or go to the store or stand or walk outside or take care of your kids. Like you really don't know if you can. It feels like you can't, but you have to do the opposite of what you inherently feel and just get yourself in there and do it and get in the trenches, because that's where these epiphanies come in. That's where these like synchronicities come in. That's how the hard-earned wisdom is earned, unfortunately. So yeah, catch yourself. See how often you're worrying and ruminating and you know, creating this result in your head that you think is going to happen, but 9 times out of 10 it won't happen. Sometimes it might, but most times it won't. But even in those times that it does happen, the idea is that your nervous system is resilient enough to be able to handle it. So there's like so many things, nuances that are involved on this journey. So I just wanted to share this little thing. I wish you guys well. We're gonna go continue to celebrate my son's birthday. I don't know what we're doing today, but I'm sure we're gonna go do something fun as I continue to wash everything. My dryer has been going, my washer's going nonstop because we're trying to get our house back to normal, better than normal. So thanks you guys, thanks for listening, and I will see you soon. I realized as I'm cleaning up, I forgot to mention that the fleas were not from Mando. They were the result of a dead baby possum under the house. So that was fun to deal with. There was a huge possum that we knew was burrowing itself under our house. And so my husband, like, he set up like, I don't know what you call it, like a night vision camera, so he saw where it was entering and where it wasn't. Turns out there was this big, like, gaping hole under our house that was like just open as the result of cutting or getting our trees cut, which I filmed a video about that. So we had no idea that there was a possum living under there. And so my husband installed a little gate that like, the possum can go in, but once it exits, it can't get back in the house. What we think happened is the possum had babies because my husband climbed under the house and he saw that there was a nest burrowed under there, which is so gross. But we think that the possum had babies, and as the possum was carrying the babies out, one got left behind. And if you do a quick Google search, I'm learning so much about possums. If you do a quick Google search, you'll read that if a baby gets left behind, the mom will not come back for it. So it's really sad all around, but that is where the fleas came from.